Hi everyone and welcome to new episode of Pop Yap after a little break, and I am very excited to have Kings with me, which has been a dream. Thank you for coming. How's your day been?
Hi, Melissa. It's been very good. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm very excited for this conversation. I cannot believe this is happening, and
You're
I'm
so sweet.
I'm just excited to talk about music and stuff because when I listen to your songs and your EPs, my life was completely changed. So I'm very
Oh,
happy.
that's amazing. Thank you so much.
So starting with your earliest memories of music, did you always knew you wanted to pursue this career professionally?
Yeah, I feel like for me, I grew up in like a small town in Switzerland, and no one around me ever made me feel like being an artist was an option. Like it was always like a dream. Like I always knew this is gonna be my life, but no one ever said it was possible. Do you know what I mean? Like it was like everyone around me kind of made me think like that's not possible, but I just knew from like I don't know, kindergarten. I already always said I'm going to be a singer, I'm going to be a singer. I don't know why. I feel like that's the stuff that I do. I am a little bit spiritual, where I feel like maybe in another life I was already a singer. I don't know, because why, as a little child, why do you already know you want to be a singer when like no one around you ever makes you think that it's even possible? Like, do you know what I mean? So I don't know. But yeah, that like the earliest is being like 5 or something. I was like, I want to be a singer. I want to be an artist.
That's so soon. Like you always knew, and I also like believe in that kind of stuff. I just feel like whatever is meant for you will happen eventually, and the right
Yeah.
time will come. And this
Yeah.
was definitely right for you. I'm very excited that you pursued it because you're changing life with your music. And I'm not
Oh,
trying to sound biased or anything, but it is true. So
oh, that means so much to me. To be honest, when someone says that to me, that's like the thing that makes me just, I don't know, it makes everything make sense. Because obviously, it's a hard path to choose, because most people, obviously where I grew up, think it's not possible anyway, and then you you chase that dream because it is a dream. It's just like, I don't know, it's not a normal job, and it's very, it is hard. It's like hard to kind of live from it and to do it, and it's like, I don't know, and then I've put so many years of work into it, and then day and night in the studio and working 4 5 different jobs at one given time, and then when someone says like they listen to the songs and it like helped them or changed their life, or I don't know, but that's what gives me like all the meaning in life that I need. I'm just like, oh, amazing. It all makes sense.
yeah, sometimes we like to just like blow it in the wind and say it all the time. But I feel like
Mm,
us as fans, we truly like do mean it. And it's something that makes us pursue our dream as well. And whenever
hmm.
we're feeling down, we just know that you as an artist have our back in so many
Mm,
situations because we can just put on music and we can just let it out all, and it all makes sense for us as well. So
no,
yeah,
nice.
were there any particular artists or albums or anything that had a big impact on you growing up?
For me, when I was really small, I mean, I'm a 90s kid still. So I actually, the first woman I was basically in love with was Britney Spears. So like for me, her album Oops, I Did It Again, which is her second album, that was when I was like, how old was I, 7 or something? And I know that's like crazy and it's like really pop, and it's not like it doesn't sound like me at all. But that honestly was like, I felt like my life was changed when I discovered Britney Spears. Because that's just, I don't know, because I was so little and I was just obsessed with her. And as I was then sort of getting older and discovering more music, like to me, Lana Del Rey was like a huge, and still is a huge like inspiration, and someone I was like, oh wow, like because the music I naturally want to make is quite melancholic and slow and like I don't know, kind of dark and stormy, but also I don't know. So Lana Del Rey was like someone who really inspired me because a lot of people would always say to me, "You can't just make sad songs," like, and I'm just like, "Well, I can." I don't know. Lana Del Rey definitely did something to me where I was like, "Yeah, she's she's a goddess. She's mother."
She is. And you are the next generation of the mothers of the sadness.
Thanks. Thank you very much. That would be so amazing. Oh, that's like a dream. Yeah, she's definitely like, yeah, Born to Die, huge influence to me. And yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say that you have such a distinct sound and artistic identity. How did you find your voice as a musician?
You know, I think realizing what it's do you know, this is a really interesting question because I do think that like it sometimes it does take a while because when you're like first making music, you're naturally just doing what comes to you, but sometimes it doesn't quite feel right still, and you're just finding yourself, and it can take a long time. And I think for me, moving to London, so when I was like 20, I decided to move to London. Um, and that's when I found myself, like when I started writing lots of music with lots of different people. And then you start realizing what you really like and what you don't like. People telling you who you're supposed to be. And then you realize, oh, that I really don't want that. And like, because at the start, you just kind of, you want to make music, but sometimes you don't quite know, yeah, what your voice really is. And I don't know, it's really weird. But like, I think it took me a few years in London to find myself properly because I then suddenly realized, oh, I don't have to sing so loudly because I think some people don't know, but I had a vocal surgery at 21, so I couldn't sing for like 9 months. So when like lots of people were going for it, chasing their dreams. I I just couldn't, even though I moved to London for music, I couldn't sing because I had to have vocal surgery already at the start. So like you'd think that it's the universe telling me like this is not for you. But I just decided I had to learn how to sing so that my vocals can handle it, so I started singing quietly, so I sing more quietly and gentle. And I realized that that's actually way more emotional and I can do it. Like I don't have to have surgery and stop singing. I can just, yeah, I don't know. And then I just realized that I loved 50s music so much. So that's like another thing where I always loved 40s and 50s, like these like really vintagey songs from like the Disney movies, like Pinocchio and like Dumbo. They have these like songs that are just so beautiful and they're like the movies I grew up with. And I just remember one day I went into the studio with my collaborator, Conway, who goes by Half Rhymes. So he's like my main co-writer and producer who I make all my songs with. And I said to him, can we make like some sort of 40s-esque song like the one in Pinocchio? Like, and he was just like, what? Like, you just don't think someone's going to come in their 20s saying, let's make a song that sounds like Pinocchio. I don't know. But we tried it, and that's how I'm Getting Tired of Me was born because we just took that influence. And that's when I knew like this is exactly my, I don't know. I think that was the first time I realized that's me. This is my whole, I don't know. That's where I found myself, I think, properly.
Wow, thank you for sharing that, especially with like the vocal surgery and stuff. I didn't know that. And
Mm,
it must have been like so hard, especially when you said like at that kind of age people try to pursue their dreams as much as they can because you'll never be that, I suppose, young or have
hmm
opportunities and stuff. So I
hmm
definitely do understand, but you did it anyway. And uh
Yeah, I
your
didn't
music
take
is
no
very
as an answer.
Yeah, it's very beautiful. So, um, and also I've talked to a lot of artists as well, and they said something like you said as well, that people wanted you to be someone you're not. And did you ever feel like you've had that kind of pressure in the music industry, especially?
I think I mainly had it when I was like when I moved to London and I went to like a music school and I didn't like ever feel pressure. I guess I was just confused myself. And then people kind of told me, no, you shouldn't do this. Like you really sound and look and whatever. Like I remember someone said to me, country artist. Like, and I was like, what? It's like that doesn't make any sense. Like, no, but like I don't know. I feel like ever since I feel like I've been so lucky. My manager, he loves me for me. He's never tried to change me ever. And when I signed with a record label, I already had 3 songs that I released myself without a record label. So they knew who they were getting. I already was King's Elliot, I already had blue hair, I already had my songs. And they just said, look, we're just going to join the ride and support you. So I definitely, funnily enough, haven't had anyone really try to change me. I think I've been very lucky in that respect. Like once I knew who I was, I sort of stuck to it. And my manager's been very protective of me as well. Like if someone, he always says like Kings knows exactly who she is, and like she, always makes sure that people don't even try to, I guess, change me. But like I don't know. So I think I've been very lucky in the last 5 years, like since I've put music out properly and found a manager and things like that. I've been very lucky.
I'm going kind of in a little melancholic way, but um,
Mhm.
was there ever a time you doubted yourself as an artist? And if so, what kept you going?
Yes, I have doubted myself. That's the thing, like in the same way that I'm really sure of who I am, I doubt myself all the time. Like I at the moment I'm having a really good few weeks, but like I doubt myself all the time and I've had times where it's been really, really bad. And to me, music has always been the only thing that makes sense in my life. So whenever I doubt myself as an artist or like this path, then I obviously doubt my whole life. I doubt everything. So it's quite quickly becomes a spiral. So I definitely have had my fair share of that and a lot of that, and even recently. And I think the thing that keeps me going is, well, number one is just the voice. It sounds so cheesy, but it really just is that there's something in me that cannot stop. Because I've tried. I remember actually when I first moved to London, like a couple of years into being here, I literally told all my friends and my family. I said, I'm finished. Like I'm giving up. I'm not doing music. Like that's it. And I was crying. It was like a breakup for me. I was like, I'm giving up. I can't do it anymore. Because there's only so much rejection sometimes you can take, because it's so hard. And then everyone's like, are you serious? And then, within a day, I was like, can't stop. Like I don't, there's nothing else I can do. Like I don't know what else I would do. Like I don't know. So it's like no one's ever told me not to stop really in those times, but it was just my own something inside me just telling me you can't. This is the only thing that makes sense in your life because if it's not this, then it's nothing. Like I don't know, it sounds dramatic, but that's always kind of just been it. It's just been like a need. Like I have to do this. Like it's like a bigger thing. And I don't do it just for like, sorry, I'm giving such long answers, but I'm very, I'm very chatty today. Sorry, Melissa.
No, no, it's fine. I love when I can hear a lot from this, and people do as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. I think for me, it's just been, um, since I've put music out and there have been fans, that's obviously the other thing now. Before fans, it was just my inner voice. And now I think it's anyone who listens to the music and there's anyone who I see at a show who I can hug and they feel some kind of healing or understanding from my music, and it gives them something that's giving me everything. And that makes me, even when I think I can't do this or I'm not good enough or whatever the thoughts may be, like the stuff keeps me going. And I'm like, oh no, it all makes sense. Like I need this. And we give strength to each other, and it's a community thing. And, at some point, it's not just about me and the songs, it's more about the whole thing around it. And yeah, anyway, that's my answer. Sorry, long answer.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that, because I feel like it's important to also see that in someone who is going a very successful way can sometimes doubt themselves, and it's important to
Mhm.
share that with other people who are just starting perhaps and will be hearing this. So thank you again.
You're welcome.
You've always infused deep emotion into your work. Was that a conscious choice from the start or something that developed naturally? And do you sometimes feel like you're saying too much and you have to be like, oh, I need to stop myself from sharing too much emotion?
Yeah, I think that's always just been a natural thing. I didn't purposely decide. Um, and I think talking about my like mental health and my mental health disorder has been something I didn't consciously choose. It was just like it's just that's the songs that come out of me, and to then talk about the song, I sort of have to speak about my mental health, and the whole thing is just it's just naturally happened because people always ask me that as like, did you consciously choose to speak about like that side of things? And I honestly, it's just I never knew that that was going to be the path, but I just do what feels naturally, and I think it's to me again. I do think it's kind of spiritual because I just the stuff that I feel in my gut and the stuff that I have to write and sing, and it just comes out. Like it's never like a conscious choice, if you know what I mean. It kind of just yeah, I've never even thought about it properly until you've just asked me. I think it's always just been I do, but I what I will say is sometimes I do think like, oh God, like maybe this one's too personal, or oh, I don't really want to say this, or maybe I need to adjust it slightly. What I like to do a lot of the time is turn things into like poetic metaphors when it's too personal. I think I love doing that. It helps me like deal with it, and it makes it beautiful rather than saying something in the cold light of day. Do you know what I mean? Like I think there's some songs that are so dark, and I think some people might not even realize how dark they are, but the because I've wrapped it all in sort of poetry. Um, but yeah, I always say what I need to say, but I do sometimes think twice, I guess, about it.
I'm so glad you mentioned poetry as well and songwriting in general, because
Mhm.
I wanted to, it's very specific for you as well. When I listened to your songs, I really felt like, first, you know what you're doing. And second of all, I wanted to jump off a very high cliff most times, but it's fine because I just resonated with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I will ask about one of my favorite songs of yours because I just want to hear more about it, but that will be
Mhm.
later because um I really love it very much. But how has your songwriting process evolved since your first releases?
Um, well, interestingly or non-interestingly, it's exactly the same. I think I always well, it's always different. Each song starts in a different way, and I think I what stays the same is that it's always very, very personal and true to my feelings. And I like to spend a lot of time on the lyrics. I like to overthink, but I know when it's finished. Like I'm not someone who can't finish a song. I just take a while sometimes to get to the point where I'm like, okay, now it's finished. I like to spend a lot of days on thinking about the lyrics and the exact structure of the song, and Even if most of it came out in like 2 hours, like I'll still think about it for days and days and days after. And I think, yeah, I usually start on the maybe the piano, sometimes the guitar, sometimes I have lyrics first, not the full lyrics, but like just like maybe a line. So it's honestly always different. Sometimes I dream. That's also happened a few times now in the new batch of songs that are coming. Like I sometimes dream things and then I wake up and I record on my on the iPhone, just like a voice note. Sometimes it's obviously complete rubbish, but I've had a few where I'm like, oh my God, this is actually quite good. And then we build a whole song out of it. And it's happened, one of them specifically that I'm really proud of, and it literally came from a dream. And I, yeah, so it's always different, but I have like my main collaborator, Conway. And he is just someone who really gets me. And I think what's really important to me is that when I'm writing songs, it's with people that I feel safe with emotionally, people that I'm really comfortable also physically. Like I have to be in comfy clothes. All my sensories have to be like, you know, yeah, it's just like I don't know, I'm very sensitive to like I'm like it has to the temperature has to be I've realized that this is something not everyone has, but I'm definitely like very specific. I'm not a diva, but like I get like thrown off if I'm overstimulated or something's not quite right. So I have to be like comfy clothes. It has to smell kind of nice. It has to temperature needs to be good. And I just need to feel very comfortable. And if there's like something that isn't right, I just don't feel good. And then I kind of want to. That's why I like to be in my comfort zone a little bit with where I write. But yeah, I have been trying different things though. That's the only thing that's changed. Like where I write with other people, I try new things just to get out of the comfort zone a little bit because it's dangerous if you shut yourself off from people too much, which is maybe what I did at the start, where I was like, I don't like any outside noise and things, so I just shut myself in. And but now I explore a bit more and I risk a bit more, and it's paid off. So yeah.
It's so interesting about the dreams uh, thing that you said. And this is not a musical question, but do you think dreams have purpose? And if yes, in what kind of ways?
I think I dream a lot, and I do think mainly it's usually a random, like I don't think there's like meaning really. I think it's your brain dealing with all the impressions of the day and then also trauma maybe from the past, and sometimes it mixes it all together. Because sometimes I have got crazy dreams and I'm like, I don't think that meant anything, but it's I'm just processing. The thing is just, yeah, processing, because I'm a very visual person as well. So I think people that like if you speak to me, I will see the thing you're asking, or like I see it all in front of me, like in my mind's eye. So I think I'm very visual. So I think that's why I dream a lot, maybe. I don't know. But um yeah, I don't know. I think that's it's I think it's just processing. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay, I'm glad you said that because I'm always thinking about it. So I was interested what you have to say about this. Mm,
Yeah. Do you think dreams have like meaning?
I feel I feel sometimes it lies to us in many different ways, but sometimes the dream feels to be not have a if what I like. Sometimes they're obviously very silly, and I don't even remember the next day what was it really about. But I've had
Mhm.
quite a few where I felt like there's a maybe it's delusion. Nobody knows.
But you're right. I do think I am a spiritual. I do, but I would say that I'm spiritual. Like I do believe in signs and things, and I do. I sometimes dream things, and then I have a clear answer the next day. And I do think that it's either your subconscious, like telling you what you need to be doing, or like, but it does come from within, I think. And but I do also. and this, I don't know if other people believe in that, but I do think that people we've lost their spirit, I do think that they are still with us. And often when I dream, because I get like visited by um people who I've lost, who I love, and I believe that they sometimes they visit me, and I do think that it's in the dreams. But I don't know. We don't, we never know. But I do think those things are real. And it brings you comfort, when you think like that.
Yeah, for sure. As someone who's very spiritual as well, I agree with everything. I just feel like there's something more in this life and world than just living and being here. And then I cannot imagine not being here one day and not doing something, either if in
Yeah,
heaven or universe or whatever. I just feel like it all has a purpose. So
yeah, it can't all just be gone. I know, I do feel the same. Yeah, interesting.
if you could give advice to your younger self when you were first starting out in music, what would it be?
Oh, well, I would tell her make sure to have thick skin, um, thick skin, and keep going. I mean, trust yourself. I think that's the most important thing, honestly, is trust yourself, and be take more risks. Maybe just a bit less of the self-doubt, because it can be very inhibiting. It can be very paralyzing. The self-doubt and beating yourself up and negative self-talk is very it's just bad. And I've done a lot of it in my life. And it's only like 5 weeks ago, by the way, that I've stopped, because I made a decision 5 weeks ago, like no more self-hatred. And I've managed since then to not say anything negative about myself, like it's something like anything extremely negative, which I used to do all the time. And because I think that is a big inhibit, like it blocks a lot of energy flows, and it blocks a lot of, I don't know, good energy, like because you're just putting yourself down. And I think that if I could only have do less of that, um then yeah, my younger self especially, um that's kind of it.
How do you take care of yourself emotionally while creating such deeply personal music?
I make sure I have professional help. I think at the start of my career I didn't, and then I was getting worse, and I was feeling really bad, and I wasn't taking care of myself. Um, and then the music really affected me because it was actually getting worse, and I don't know. So sometimes, but then last year I started therapy, really intensive therapy, and that's really helped me. Um, yeah, and I have animals. I look after four rabbits and two gerbils. All of them are adopted, and they. It's nice to give me another meaning in life. When it's not just if you're all consumed by the songs and your music and and especially if you talk about suffering in the songs, I think that can be very toxic if it's the whole time all you're thinking about and saying. So I think that made a big change in my life when I started therapy, and also when I look after my animals, it really helps me.
Has there been a moment where a fan's response to your music really stuck with you, or any interaction in that matter?
Yeah, I mean, there's been so many. I mean, the most recent one was when I was just in Switzerland, and I met someone at the show who said she was listening to my music when she was in the psych ward for 3 months, I think it was. And she said she was listening to my music every day, and that was the only thing that was giving her comfort. And we were hugging, and she was crying, and I don't know, and she just said it was giving her a reason to like continue life. And I don't know, that was just that was last month, a couple of weeks ago or something. Anyway, that's the last one that I was like, wow, that's really stuck with me, and like that really means so much.
Wow, that's so beautiful. I hope the person is okay now. But yeah, as I've
Yeah.
mentioned in the beginning, like music is so important to artists and the fans as well, and it has such healing power. I feel very lucky to be in a world where music exists.
Me too.
Your visuals, from single artworks or artworks to music videos, feel very intentional. How involved are you in that process?
Oh, I'm involved in every single thing and every step of the way, and very I'm I love all of this stuff. So definitely like every single thing is basically from my brain. And then I collaborate with people to make like a vision become reality. But then I'm very like what do you call it? Not micro. I'm a little bit. I try and like go a little bit more, but I am quite like micromanaging in the sense I would just want to be part of everything, like every edit, every just because I see it in a way, and I just want to, yeah. So I'm definitely part of every single thing, and a lot of things I just, yeah, a lot of things I do dream actually, ideas. I dream things, and I'm like, oh, this could be great, and then yeah, but yeah, I've been so lucky to collaborate with people that are so talented that then like do it with me and like let me um mess with it, more after they've sent it to me, for example. Like, I then still want to like change things, and I don't know. So yeah, I'm definitely, yeah, part of everything is the answer. Sorry. I'm giving such long answers. I'm gonna stop now.
No, no, please, please don't stop. It's very good that my whenever I write the questions, I sometimes like imagine what the person could say, which is a little weird, but I love when people give like the full on answer, not just like 2 words, because then I don't know what to ask, to be honest.
Yeah, okay.
When I wrote the next question, I actually had Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind in the background.
Ah, oh, nice. I
And
love that movie.
me too. I am obsessed. I watch it whenever I feel bad, or movies in general. As much as music, movies can, because
Oh.
I really like where an artist has a vision, and that's what I see in you. Whenever I see the artwork or music video, I just love the visuals because I know what exactly you were going from. Obviously, the music is very important, but I just like to see what the artist really meant. And
Mm,
your music specifically has such a cinematic quality. Have
mhm.
you ever thought about scoring films or working on soundtracks?
Oh, yeah, I'd love. Well, and it's funny you mentioned Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, because it inspired when we were writing Like I Was Never Here. I was thinking, like, I sort of talked about how I feel and stuff, and then suddenly it was like, oh, like in the movie, and it kind of inspired a little bit, the feeling of just being erased, and having never existed, and in anyway, so that was an inspiration for me as well, this movie. I love it, and she's obviously in some of the parts, she's got blue hair, so she's definitely like my vibe. But I actually already did the soundtrack for a PlayStation game, which was like really cinematic and really, they actually wanted something completely different, but like I had a different vision, and I wanted to I showed it to them, and I wanted to see whether they liked it, and they loved it. So it was like really lucky, because they could have just said, no, that's not what we want. But Lost again was for this video game. Um, and that was amazing. And I would definitely, like, if there's more things that came in, I would definitely do more. I was close to having like a theme song to like a it was on Sky, to like a series on Sky. I was in the last two, but then someone else wrote something that they preferred, so then I didn't get that one. But like, I would love to do more. I think it's really fun, and it's definitely like my kind of thing.
Well, I hope you do one day because I can name quite a few movies where I would put certain song, and I should make like I could make an essay about this, to be honest.
Nice.
Mm,
You should tell them all to use my songs.
I will spread the agenda. I'm on it right now. Emailing the Netflix like in a second after we finish this. Don't worry. Mm, do you see your music evolving in a specific direction, or do you prefer to let it unfold naturally?
Oh, it's all just unfolds naturally. Um, I've got a new batch of songs, and some of them are so different, and I'm just like, how the hell did this happen? But it just happens, and I just let it happen because it, like I said, it's spiritual. So, and I think as soon as you put too much intention, like I want to write like this or I want to sound like this, it never. I just don't think it's not authentic, or it's not like what is meant to happen, because you're just forcing something. I don't know. That's how I feel anyway. So I go where my heart takes me and what comes out, and so far it's been really fun, and we'll see how the next few songs. I'm just so curious what people are going to think. But yeah, been really fun.
If you could collaborate with any artist, past or present, who would it be and why?
I would love to collaborate with, you know what, I'd love to collaborate with Freddie Mercury, who is a god, basically. My mum listened to Queen when I was little, and I just think he's got the most incredible voice and songwriting and everything. So like Freddie Mercury, or like Frank Sinatra, you know, this kind of 50s vibe. Oh, I'd love to do that. I know there's so many, and I'd love to. There's just so many, like obviously Lana Del Rey. I'd love to collaborate with. Imagine, um, yeah. There's a lot. Banks. Okay, now I'm going to stop. But there is a lot of artists and people that I'd love to collaborate
Well, I would love you to collaborate with many of my favorite artists as well. So hopefully
with.
one day very soon,
Yes.
it will happen. Is there a specific message or feeling you hope people take away from your music?
Yeah, I definitely hope people listen to my music and feel. I always wanted my music to be like a warm blanket. And I think some of the songs really are. Like, I think Tired of Me is like a blanket that just hugs you and makes you feel okay. Like, I think it's sad, but it's hopeful somehow. Or it's more like there's like this bittersweetness of like, you're not on your own. Like, I understand you. And like, I don't know, I kind of want that to be the message, really. I want people to just feel like, oh, this is exactly how I feel. So I'm not on my own. I feel understood, because there's nothing worse than feeling like no one in the world understands you. I think that's the one thing that I really want to avoid with anyone. Um, so yeah, that's kind of what I hope my music does for people.
Well, I can assure you it does for
Yeah.
many of us. So you reached the
Thank
goal.
you. Thank you.
I want to talk a little about your most recent EP. I'm not always sad, sometimes I'm angry.
Mhm.
Um, it's such a striking title. How did you land on it and what does it mean to you?
Oh, it was kind of a spontaneous thing. I had a show in Switzerland, and I was just trying to say something to introduce the next song, and that I was going to play it, which was Sweet Nothing, which at the time no one heard before. And it's like my first song where I'm kind of angry, like, and I'm really pissed off in the song. And that's the first time I'd ever done a song like that. So when I tried to introduce it to people, I was like, I'm not always sad. Sometimes I'm angry, and then people were laughing. So I thought, That's kind of funny. So that should be the title of the EP because I don't know. I love the double negative because people just think sometimes I'm happy, and obviously I am as well. But like, I also think it's a big part of BPD, which is obviously the disorder that I struggle with. There's a lot of anger, and I think a lot of my songs are very sad. And a lot of people have asked me over time, are you always sad? Like, or is the music always sad? So then I think this title just summarizes one, the EP, because Never Be Mine also has like a very angry outburst in it. So it's just like a new era for me because new territory in music that I'm exploring and kind of just an answer to everyone who asks like, are you always sad? And I'm sort of just like, no, not always. Oh, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, when I first like saw the EP name and I didn't hear the songs, I was thinking about how many times I was angry and yelling and stuff, and I started crying suddenly. And
Oh,
sometimes you can mix those two emotions as well.
yeah.
But I just found it so interesting that you don't literally not always sad, sometimes angry. I love
Yeah.
that much. Don't even know how to explain to people. It's just me and my brain understanding it, but it's
Yeah.
such an emotional thing.
Yeah, and a lot of the times, when you feel so much anger, it then turns into sadness. They are very closely connected. So I feel I have a lot of anger in me. Like I think people, especially in the first two EPs, I don't think people would think that I am an angry person, and I'm not like an angry person as such, but I have a lot of pain in me, and pain equals emotion, and it's not just sadness, it's also active pain which can manifest in anger. So I think, yeah, I wanted to give that a bit more space in that EP.
How does this EP differ from your previous work in terms of sound and themes?
I think what's really different is that there is more attitude in this on this EP. Sweet Nothing is the first song I've ever written where I'm just having fun. But like it's angry, but I'm having fun. Like it's really fun to perform. And I definitely discovered a new part of me that I didn't even know I could put in a song. When we wrote it, it was so this is one of the ones that was just so spontaneous. We were just messing about, and me and Conway, we're like, I mean, he's one of my best friends, right? So we will just be talking about stuff in my life. And then that's the most fun, I think, is when you're talking about stuff and then a song accidentally just kind of happens because you're talking about the situation. And the first lines we had was, "Where'd you get off, you narcissistic motherfucker?" And and we were like, and I was like, "Oh, I don't know if I should say that." I was like, "Oh, it's a bit extreme." Like, I normally don't really swear in the songs because they're more sort of beautiful, gentle, sad songs. But then when that just came out, and we were like, "Do you know what? That's so fun. Like, we have to. Like, I'm going to do this." Um, so yeah, it's definitely different in terms of energy. I think there's a couple of songs on there that have that same sort of original vibe that my first EP has, like I Was Never Here is like an old school, just beautiful song in like waltz, and it's just, yeah, like core my vibe. And then just a few hours branching out, definitely. I Hate the Sun is completely different from the other songs. um and Never Be Mine, I went into a bit more of a rocky outbreak. And yeah, I don't know, I think sound wise and subject wise I just expanded a lot. And there's more I think more relationship, I think interpersonal, like there's a few more talking to someone else on this EP, whereas before maybe a lot of it has been just about my relationship with me. And I think there's just more now with maybe other people involved as well.
Was there a particular song on this EP that was hardest to write?
Um, um, Hardest to write. I do think. Maybe like I was never here, to be honest, just because I wanted the lyrics to be completely perfect. So I was tweaking them for a long time. Um, but none of them were hard to write, I guess. They all kind of, yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. Or maybe it's also long ago now that I can't even remember. I'm joking. I do, I do remember. I Hate the Sun was also kind of hard, I guess, because that came out. We sort of started that when we were in LA with someone we'd never written with before. And then, we finished it in London. And then, I don't know, sometimes when it's a bit started in a different place and then you continue it somewhere else, it can be a little bit hard. Um, but yeah, otherwise, I think like I was never here, just lyrically.
Yeah, and how about musically? Like, was there a song where you weren't really satisfied with how it was? Like, well, like the production and stuff, it changed the most from the demo version to the official version.
Well, um, so interesting because Sweet Nothing was just guitar at first, but we had the whole vision and it came together beautifully. And I was so happy with how the production came out. So it didn't feel hard in that way. But then I think I Hate the Sun was hard, I think, because there's a lot of production going on, a lot of layers, and, a lot of vocals, backing vocals and things like that. And then, there's that one. I think that one was probably the hardest to do and to get feeling right and anthemic because it kind of feels anthemic, but still kind of sad. And yeah. And also, what I really enjoyed was actually It's My Birthday because that one is so stripped, but then we did such beautiful, like, backing, like, harmony arrangements. And they really have, like, I don't know, that one I love a lot. And that was, I guess, kind of hard just to get the exact balance of everything. But yeah, I think I'm kind of lucky with those ones. Stuff came together pretty much how I envisioned it, I think. If we spend so I can't even tell you how much time we spend on these songs, like the productions, it's so much time, like like non-stop. I'm always working on it. So it all becomes a blur, but like yeah, but I never ever stop before. Oh, do you know what? Wait, sorry. I scrap everything. No, I'm joking. Everything I said is correct, but I just remembered the hardest one of them all is Enough. That is the most stripped one, and that was the hardest one of them all. Oh my God. When I tell you I've made 35 versions of this song, I'm not lying. And I forgot it because I think I have what do you call it when something traumatic and you're trying to push it away in your head? That's what
Okay.
I've done. That's what I've done with Enough. I was just like, I can't. That's why I probably forgot about it because it was too traumatic. But I wrote this song in 2019, I think. So I wrote this song a long time ago. It was very sad. I've always loved it. I've always played it live before I like started doing the shows with the new EPs and stuff. And I had some specific fans were always asking for it, and I thought I want to put it out, but it never sounded good recorded. Only live it sounded good. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, it's just not right. And then we recorded it in like to tempo, and then I was just like, this is just not right. So then in the end, we free recorded it without tempo. You know how like I don't know if you know how when you're recording in the studio, you usually have like a click, something that gives you the tempo so that you
Mhm.
stay in the same rhythm.
Yeah, I play on the piano, so I know what you're talking about. I use that
And you
for piano as well.
Right. So you have, yeah, so you pick the BPM and you have it and it kind of gives you, and with Enough, it was like, no, the verses have to be faster than the chorus or vice versa. I can't even remember, but there was one bit has to be faster, then it has to slow down, then it has to be, and that was the one time in my life where we had to, oh, it was so painful. So anyway, Enough is the most painful song of them all.
The last two songs you've mentioned that are my favorite songs ever, like Enough and It's My Birthday as well. I've had it on repeat for the past week because in a week it's my birthday, and
Oh.
especially the last verse or like the outro where you say it's my birthday and I'm hoping the window breaks to steal my reflection to show me outside. Sometimes I wonder if
Mm,
I'll ever love her, blah blah blah. And um
yeah.
I if you can say something about the song, I would be very happy, but it resonated to me in a very deep and personal level, and I will post it on my Instagram in a week.
Yeah, I'm so happy to hear that you resonate with it. I mean, also not because it's really sad. That song to me is so sad. When I sing it, it's very, very I don't know, it makes me really sad because it is. It's like having I remember the idea started also like a year ago or a couple of years ago, and I it's just that feeling on your birthday. It's just there's immediately all this pressure, so on all of those sort of days where people think you should be happy, or there's just a bit more attention on you, or or maybe expectation, or maybe even from yourself. Maybe you think someone should call me, and then they don't, or someone does call you and they think, "What are you doing on your birthday?" And you're like, "Nothing," because I'm depressed, like I'm not doing anything, and that makes you feel even worse. So there's like two sides, right? There's like, and both is difficult. And I think just if you're not when you're not in a good place and it's your birthday, I think it is just highlighted, it's just emphasized. And you realize that, oh, you're not where you want to be. You're not the person you want to be. And like, I think before I got help, before I got therapy, before I had, I struggled a lot with self acceptance and self love. That's why it ends on, sometimes I wonder if I'll ever love her. Um, and by that I mean obviously me. And then um oh, man, at the end, it's so sad because she's like, when I'm like, okay, that's me. I don't know why I'm speaking about myself in third person, but I sing, she's all I've got most of the time, right? Because that's true. Because you have to love yourself because you are all you've got most of the time. Because really, you're the person you should be able to rely on the most. Um, and then it's just like, why do I want to leave her behind? Like funny that all that I want is to leave her behind. There's like, yeah, I don't know, because like I feel like that whole feeling of like tired of me is the same kind of thing. It's just like not loving who you are and having issues with the person you are and loving yourself and where you are in life and what you've done and your past and trauma and all of this stuff. And I think that a lot of things that I have done in my life and still do because of also my mental health and things, they make me not like who I am. So that's why that's always such a big top subject in my life. Um, but yeah, that's I mean, that's where birthday comes from, that song. But
Well,
yeah, I just
I love that song so much. It just, especially because like March, you start to think about when you come to your birth month, you start to think about your birthday. And I am in that age where I'm graduating high school and people
Mhm,
expect something from me. And
mhm,
sometimes I feel like what if high school was my peak and nothing better will,
mhm.
and it's like that constant overthinking. That's why I resonated with this song so much, and it's very very beautiful. I could write an essay about that again. So
Oh,
yeah,
thank you.
thank you for creating it. The girls
Oh,
are
thanks.
very happy. Is there a specific song from this EP that resonates with you at this moment?
At this moment, the one that to me is very special is Like I Was Never Here. And actually, I just put out the stripped versions of it because I did a completely reimagined version of it. Sweet Nothing as well. But Like I Was Never Here to me is just, I don't know, that song, I don't know. It's one of the, it's just, I don't feel like that all the time because that would be terrible. And like I said to you, I promised myself 5 weeks ago that I don't want to speak badly about myself anymore. And in Like I Was Never Here, it's very much about that I am a burden and that I am bad for the person that I love. And obviously, yeah, I try to avoid speaking of myself in that way. But I think, yeah, it definitely is a song that I have a lot of, I don't know, I resonate with it a lot. It makes me very sad. But it's also very beautiful. I don't know, because it's also a kind of messed up love song because for the person that I wrote it for, because I love that person so much that I like hate myself for causing pain to this person, you know? Um, so yeah, I don't know. I think that song.
Well, I love it. The whole EP is just very relatable in so many ways and beautiful. So
Thanks.
whatever song you would choose, I would be like, yeah. Um, do you write more from reflection or in the heat of the moment? How does anger fuel your creative process differently than sadness?
I usually write in reflection. Sometimes in the moment, it is actually, it depends. When I'm very, very, very sad, I I can't do anything. So then I have to write when I'm kind of out of the worst of it. And the same thing when I have like an episode, like a sort of split, you would say, like in like BPD terms, like if I have a split or a angry episode or like, yeah, where I just see red, I definitely am not writing songs. So it's like usually it's upon reflection where I think about it and then I write the songs. And I think that's why most of the songs are sad because I think about it afterwards and obviously I'm sad that this moment happened because it's terrible. And like even though I felt anger, I now feel sadness and shame and do you know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
but with Sweet Nothing, a lot of it happened when I was going through the situation, which was fun because that maybe it wasn't as like it was a different kind of anger. You know, it was more like I'm pissed off with this person rather than I'm so angry that I'm losing my mind. Like I don't know, it's like a different kind of anger. Um, so yeah, that one was kind of in the situation, which was that was fun. I say that was fun. It was obviously terrible. But sometimes it's fun to write when you're not like it's actually hilarious because often we'll write the songs about a situation that is terrible, but then you're writing the song and it suddenly becomes fun because you're like when you're swearing and stuff in the song and you're actually saying lines that are really clever or like wordplay and like all this stuff, it becomes really fun and then you're actually making the situation better because you can laugh about it because you're having fun writing the song. Like, do you know what I mean? So I don't know. That's how I dealt with that one.
Yeah, I just love when artists say that they write the most gut wrenching song to ever exist. And they're like, it was so fun to write. And I was like, are we listening to the same song? Because I felt like my heart is about to be ripped out. And you say it was fun, but I understand where you're coming from. Totally. So
Yeah.
I'm also very happy that you're so open about your struggles with mental health because it's not an easy topic to talk about, especially because in this industry and in general on social media, people can take advantage of it. Has making
Mhm.
this EP helped you process emotions differently than before?
Yeah, it definitely helped me get through the situation that I was going through that has informed a lot of the CP. Like Sweet Nothing, Never Be Mine. And then to be honest, it's really weird. I don't know. I think this EP specifically, yes, with like anger stuff, but like generally, it's been the same for me as it has been for the other two EPs. Like, I Hate the Sun and Like I Was Never Here and It's My Birthday are songs where I am fighting with myself. I just realized I'm just looking at the track list. I'm just like, oh wow, all these songs are about how much I fight with me and myself and my inner demons. And I think writing the songs helps me, but I do think therapy has helped me a lot. And technically, I've only had therapy kind of once this EP was already pretty much written. So I think the next batch is going to be the interesting one where I've had therapy, maybe some things have changed. I don't know. But yeah, so far it's been kind of the same that I've always done is just write the songs that, write the things that are bothering you and put them into songs and yeah, process it that way somehow.
Do you feel like anger is still an underrated or misunderstood emotion in music, especially for female artists?
Oh yeah. It's a good question because yeah, with women singers, I guess, like people can often think, oh, just being a bitchy or being a brat, or even though brat is obviously now awesome. And every like I don't mind being called a brat. But like I think that maybe often, yeah, people would misunderstand it with women or like not take it as seriously or I don't know, like, do you know what I mean? Like people are quite quick to say, oh, she's really bitchy, like, or she's just a real, I don't know. But like I think um, yeah, so I do think people do misunderstand it. And I do think Sweet Nothing, by the way, is the best thing that could have come out of my situation that I was in at the time. So I do think this EP helped me. It's done something to me that has transformed me, to be honest, because when I play this on stage, it is, I can't tell you, I've never had so much fun in my life on stage. Like, and that's like come from a really shitty situation. So I'm just like, if that's what's come out of it, that's amazing. So I just want to like do more of it. But yeah, I do think women can be very understood in terms of anger, for sure.
Yeah, because when I was thinking about the name of the EP, it's obviously very mind provoking, especially for people who like to judge women based on their feelings, even though we
Mhm.
clearly see that men cannot control their emotions very well
Mm.
in the recent events that have happened. And I will not speak
Yeah,
about it, but yeah,
yeah, yeah,
very
very much.
interesting. So I feel like this is very misunderstood. Uh,
Hmm.
in music wise and in general, but this has been a very rebellious thing for you to put out as well, and very I just appreciate you did that because it's very important to show that part of emotion as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think, but me also, I didn't always want to be like. I didn't want everyone also to see me as this fragile, sad thing in the corner that's not going to stand up for myself. Like when, if I'm angry, if someone pisses me off and does me wrong, I'm not writing a sad song about you. I'm going to write something angry about you. I'm going to, like, I'm not someone who's going to take shit. And I think I really wanted to, well, yeah, I guess I suddenly wrote that and realized this is what needs to come out because I want to show that as well. It's like you can't mess with me. And I kind of like that because you don't always want to be victimized as well, or seen as someone who can be maybe, I don't know, like picked on or I don't know. So it's kind of that gave me a lot of empowerment, I think.
What do you hope listeners take away from this EP?
I hope that they feel like they can scream and cry and yell and laugh all in one EP and just continue to not feel like they're on their own and that we can just keep growing together yeah, I think that's kind of it. I mean, that's all I want from people to just feel like, yeah, they just if they're understood and we're in this together. And the new era that's coming is a whole new thing, and I'm just excited.
Well, I can definitely say that I took a lot from this EP, especially the feeling of obviously being understood by you and what you have to say. And it's very important that you said it out loud for the rest of us. But
Mm.
also, it made me realize that it's okay to be sad, it's okay to be angry. I don't have to be ashamed of my emotions because we're all humans and we all experience all kind of emotions, and it doesn't make me dramatic or insane, and that is actually okay. So,
Oh
uh,
my God, you've really, really hit the nail on the head. I mean, that is exactly it. Because that's it. In fact, when you were speaking earlier, I thought exactly that. It's like a lot of the time women will be called dramatic or crazy. And that is a lot of the time that is the case. Absolutely. And I think my biggest thing, like you just said, so this makes me so happy, is actually I don't want anyone to ever feel ashamed for what they're feeling, because this is something I have felt so much, and I don't want anyone to ever feel that. And this is something I really, really find so important. So, 100,000% what you just said. So, if it helps anyone process emotions and not be ashamed and like to show them and to go through them and to that's the stuff, like, that's super important to me.
obviously, it's very hard in the real world to be understood in that kind of way. But at least I hope that in the female world and maybe some men who are emotionally intelligent and everyone in that matter, we can just be kinder to each other and empathize with each other. So,
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
what's your favorite thing about live performances?
Definitely the fans, them like singing with singing with the people that have been listening, because that is the best thing in the whole world. And it's always been my biggest dream. And I still dream that there will be a big room of us all, and everyone is singing every single word, and we're just all singing together. And like, I don't know, that is my favorite thing about live.
Yeah, because whenever I see like Yasmin's Insta stories and she posts like you performing and stuff, I just wish I would be there because it's such a great energy as well. So hopefully one day you'll tour or
Ah,
something.
yes. Wait, where are you based again?
I'm from Slovakia, but obviously nobody comes here because it's like, what the hell is this country? Nobody knows it.
Oh,
But maybe
no,
like
I know
Prague.
it.
No, maybe like Prague or Vienna. I can do Germany, so
Ah, well, I might be announcing something very soon, so hopefully I'll be seeing you in either Germany or Vienna, or yeah, we'll see. One of those.
okay. I'm seated. I will be there. I need to experience that because I saw it on Instagram. It touched me very deeply, and I have such a FOMO all the time. So yeah, hopefully.
Oh, yes. Oh my God. I'd love it so much.
What's your relationship in with social media in general, and when do you know the limit of sharing something, or and when do you feel like maybe I shouldn't share this thing because it's too personal? Do you take your account as like like you, or is it more like a musical persona? Because I've had people here who use their Instagram just for their music and nothing else. But also, do you feel like it's important sometimes to share part of your human self?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think that's kind of the main thing about social media is kind of to just be you and let people kind of be part of your life with you, and you just share like your thoughts. And I mean, that's the nice thing about it, because I think if you're just sharing music, that's obviously, I don't know, I guess it doesn't give context as to who you are as a person maybe. But I don't know. I do think sometimes I've definitely had that where like I kind of don't post anything for 2 weeks because I'm either I find it very hard when I'm like definitely at the moment I'm like in the studio and I'm working so hard day and night on this new music, and to then remember to take my phone and film myself or say something or even look at anything online. I Yeah, I find that hard because I go into tunnel vision. Because when I get engrossed in the music making, and then people tell me, obviously manager or label or someone's like, you should be posting on TikTok or Instagram. I'm just like, oh God. Those moments I don't like because then I'm like, oh shit. Like I don't want anyone to have to tell me. Like it has to come from me and it has to feel just right for me to share something. And I think sometimes when I get too lost in creating, I forget. Um, and I just it's weird. I do that with everything. I don't message anyone for like weeks. I don't pick up the phone. I just go kind of AWOL. So I think that's the thing that I struggle with, where I just disappear, but I kind of feel like I can't, because you kind of don't want to just disappear and not do anything on there because maybe then you get told, oh, the algorithm and this and this, and I think that side of it is not nice. But I think the side of like being able to be in contact with all your listeners, anyone who listens to you and wants to speak to you, you can literally talk to all of them. I think that's amazing, and that's my favorite thing about it.
Yeah, I just kind of want to put into the world that I feel like sometimes people don't understand that artists are still human beings, and
Mhm.
sometimes the border is like overstepped to the point where people just annoy artists too much. And I don't like that personally as a fan.
Mhm.
And also with
Mhm.
social media and numbers, it's just such a bullshit. Like, why should your worth be, worth in numbers where it literally
Mhm.
does not matter? But at the same time, I understand you need to push your music. You need to go on TikTok and make a silly video for people to see
Mhm.
and post on Instagram because obviously algorithm. I wasn't posting. I think for second week now on my podcast because I was studying and I already see my numbers dropping, which is normal.
Mhm.
But also sometimes
Mhm.
you can overthink like what happened, but that's normal, and how am I gonna gain the views back and stuff. It's just I like
I
social
think,
media.
yeah. And some of it can be disheartening, right? Like and I do think TikTok, for an example, it is crazy. Like maybe you have one video that suddenly has like 1 million views or 500,000 views or even 20,000 views, but then you'll have one that just sits on 500 views, and you're just like, oh. Even if you like spent maybe ages editing it, and you're like, oh, I spent lots of time on this, and then it just doesn't get any views, and it just is very random. Like some of them they just tickle something in the algorithm and they get shown to people and some videos don't. And I think me learning that like some of them will just not get any views, it's just like, all right, like have just kind of accepting that and just posting whatever I think I want to post and believing deep in my heart that like I believe in the songs so much, so all I can do is share my story and just keep going, because that was definitely something that really affected me. I do think like last year, a lot of my negative talk to myself also was like, yeah, you're posting your songs because also record labels generally, no one kind of knows anymore how to promote an artist except for TikTok videos and reels going viral. Other than that, there's not really another way anymore. There's literally people are saying that. So then you're like, oh, it's all in my hands. Like there's no record label that's supporting me. It's in no one else's hands but mine, I guess, and the people watching the videos. But then if you're posting something and it doesn't get the view count that you want, you're just like, oh no, like, does this mean that everything's shit and like I'm shit? And like, it's so easy to immediately think everything sucks and I should just stop and give up. Like, I think people like me that have extreme thought patterns, which is what I have, is like, I'll think one thought and the next thing I'm thinking I need to give up everything and I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's very extreme. And I do think social media can be very, very bad for you. Um, but I've just been trying to change how I feel about it. I just look at it differently at the moment. So I'm kind of just I'm kind of just like riding the wave and I'm just like, look, it's going to be okay. And I believe in the music, so somehow it's going to find its audience. Um, you know what I mean? Like I just believe in it so much because I do also believe that your thoughts attract the reality. So I just think somehow I'm going to find my audience, even if some of my videos just don't do anything. It's like, whatever, I'm just going to keep going.
Your thoughts attract the reality. I'm going to write that down. I love that sentence so much. And it's true because I feel like as much as we try to be honest on social media, sometimes the perception of us can be mistaken in many times, which I guess it's fine because sometimes people are forced to post stuff to promote themselves, but also I really like when artists just shows themselves, and it is a long path to not do a trend that is going on right now, but sometimes I feel like it's better to just be yourself and post what you believe in and not go with the flow, because
Mm,
the way might be harder, like with the views and stuff, but also it's completely you. But also, you need to put yourself out there. It's very hard to uh, understand that from my point of view, especially because I'm not an
mm,
artist. I don't know how it really works. I'm just very lucky to create this podcast to kind of understand that from the point of view. And also, I want people to understand that sometimes creating social relationship with your artist and thinking that you know too much about them just because you follow them on social media, like that's not enough. And we just put things out there just what we want people to see, if you know what I mean. So,
yeah, I mean, there's definitely stuff that I don't share. There's definitely moments, obviously, of my life that I can't share and I don't share. I usually, I think I talk about it a lot when I do my Sick Puppy Comfort Club streams on Twitch. I do like try and do it now, like once a month, where um me and some fans we just get on Twitch and I'm playing a game or whatever and I speak to them, and that's normally where I'm the most unfiltered there, and I talk about stuff that I don't say on social media or things that I don't share generally, and I just tell it to the small group that's on the Twitch stream with me. But yeah, there's like, yeah, because there's so many things really that you can't always share, or that is like a bit difficult and also involves other people maybe or whatever, like, yeah, so there's a lot that is obviously not seen on my Instagram, and I do agree.
well, social media is a hard topic to talk about, and
Mm.
I wish people just would be more educated in many stuff. But yeah, if you want to educate yourself, there's many ways to do so. But I hope that when I created this, I wanted people to see artists from different point of view. Also, I didn't want people to know too much about them from the personal point of view. I feel like sometimes I want to rip off my hair when I see a professional interview and the interviewer just asks so many like personal questions, and you can clearly see the artist or whoever, an actor, doesn't,
Mm.
is uncomfortable, and I'm like, don't you like see that? But obviously they do it for views, and that's another thing. Like the numbers make us go crazy sometimes.
Yeah, you are very right, and it makes people do or say things that they wouldn't normally do just because it might get numbers. You're very right. It's very true. So I found your questions really, like, you're very interested. You clearly have listened to the music and you care about the songs and the music and the artistry, and that's worth so much to me, like to be asked questions like that. And it's when it's not just about my personal struggles and just about all of my, I've had people ask me on live TV, like, what are your triggers? And I'm just like, what? So like, I want to tell you like, what? So it's like you have to like, yeah, because people suddenly they just want the juicy. I don't know what they're trying to get, but like sometimes, yeah, important to have that boundary in place and to say, hey, like, I don't want to talk about that. So yeah, I really see where you're coming from.
Thank you for saying that about me as well. And that's the goal, to just feel comfortable, have a nice conversation about music, move forward, and not make people uncomfortable because I hate seeing that. And as a fan, it makes me super upset, but hopefully it will change in the
Yeah,
future.
yeah, I agree. Oh, you're a sweetheart. Thank you for all your questions today. It was really lovely.
Thank you. I have two last questions. The
Yeah.
last one is not really a question. Um, the next one, however, you can share as
Mhm.
much as you want. This is one of like mind provoking questions, or like where I really dig deep down, and I just let artists say whatever they want to say, so no pressure. But
Mhm.
is there something coming from you? And if you want to share something specifically, you can. But if you don't want to, you don't have to. Just like, what's coming next? Like, what are you working at?
So I'm working non-stop at the moment to try and finish something very, very special. I can't quite announce what it is in terms of, but I think everyone can probably guess. But it's like the biggest project I've ever worked on in my whole life. And I'm very, very, very excited for it to see the light of day. And on this day when this interview is coming out, this podcast, is the day the first song of this new era comes out. Dark Frost will be out today, I guess. Um, and I'm just so excited. I mean, of all the bits that are coming after it, and I'm going to announce lots of new things and lots of surprises. Obviously, for towards the end of the year, I will be, like I said to you, hopefully seeing you live in person. But I'm announcing all of that, but very soon, like in the next week or couple of weeks. But yeah, so this year is going to be very exciting, and I'm just so so so. I'm going to manifest it, and I'm going to keep reminding myself. I think 2025 is going to be my favorite year, and it is so far. It's been very good so far, so I'm very excited.
I'm very excited as well. Yeah, I will link the song in the bio,
Yeah,
so you can
yeah.
listen to it. It will be out for sure, and I'm very excited for the next things. And I will be seeing you live. I will sell my lungs to be there. Um, Anything, organ donator. So
No, no. Oh my God. I'll make sure you can come without doing that. I'm so
no,
excited.
I'm very excited as well. So stay tuned. That's all I will say. Stay tuned, and all your social media will be down below. So check it out.
Yay.
And last question, not a question, more like a space for you to share a message, whatever you want to say to other upcoming artists or small artists who are stuck, whatever you want to say to them. This is your space to do so.
I would say to you, if music is your biggest love and you want to do this like seriously, then stick to your guns and just work as hard as you can. But what's very, very important is don't define yourself through your artistry. Because at the end of the day, I know it's because I do the same, and it's probably also something I would tell my younger self, but it's defining yourself through your success numbers or your career is just so dangerous. You have to be a person outside of it as well and find meaning in life outside of it as well. Otherwise it can break you. as a person, it can be very, very difficult. When your whole self-worth just depends on one thing. I think a lot of the time we seek validation, and I think that was a lot of my journey as well, still is. So yeah, I think anyone stick to your guns, keep working, and like don't give up and don't take no as an answer, but don't define yourself through it. Just find other things. And I do think positive things come to you when you are surrounding yourself with things you love, when you are exuding love and gratitude and good energy. Things will come to you. Like it's just important not to get too, bogged down and feel like stuck and like get in that headspace, like get out of that headspace and just keep moving and things do fall into place. I do believe that.
That was very beautiful. I'm sure whoever heard it is very inspired and will keep going because it's nice to hear something like that, especially when you're struggling on or don't know like where to go. Even for me, and I'm not doing music
Mm.
in other ways. You're a very inspirational person, and I'm very happy that we had the chance to talk about your music. And I'm just excited to whatever is to come for you. Listen to I'm Not Always Sad. Sometimes I'm angry. Listen to the new single. Stay tuned for all of the stuff. And I'm just very proud of you. And it's not like I'm biased right now, but your music is. I'm just very happy that my friend Yasmin introduced me to you because it is life changing for me. And I just love music so much. So thank you for being here and spending an hour and a half with me. That's crazy.
That makes me so happy. You're a sweetheart. Thank you so much for spending time with me as well and asking these wonderful questions. Honestly, I really, really enjoyed it. And I think you're really great at this. And um, yeah, keep going. You as well.
Thank you. I hope we can talk another time where the something will come out that we will not mention, but I'm very excited for it.
Yes, me too.
So stay tuned. The all of the links are down below and I'll speak to you next week.